This phone is about to prove you wrong. I mean, if you thought only Samsung, Apple and Google know how to make flagships, well, watch this video. Actually, scratch Google. Like, I took this picture from this phone and this on the iPhone. I took a zoomed in picture from this phone and the same on the iPhone. And here's a low light from this phone and then from the iPhone. And if you're thinking I'm only showing you the good stuff, maybe, but you'll have to wait till the camera section to really find that out. Actually, let me blow your mind. So look at this picture. I zoomed in at this point and took a shot from the same spot and just look at what I got. Guys, this right here is the Oppo Find X8 Pro and this time it's come to India. It screams flagship in all possible ways. I mean, almost. It's not perfect, but it's got a lot of the stuff right, including the camera capture button. I mean, the quick button. Let's talk about all of that. So unlike other smartphones, this one actually comes with everything in the box. Box hona chahiye mere paas. In the... De yaar aisi. So unlike other flagships, this one actually comes with everything in the box. An 80-watt charger, a USB cable, ejector pin, a transparent silicon case that kind of looks nice, and oh man, they still come with a pre-applied screen protector. Who does that nowadays? Anyway, now it's a big phone. The good part about a big phone is a big display, and the tough part is usually the handling. Because when I saw that camera ring at the back, you naturally think, whoa, that phone is big and heavy. But it's surprisingly light, and when you hold it, it actually doesn't feel bulky. I mean, it's definitely on the wider side and you'll feel it when you hold it, especially when using it with one hand. What's really commendable though is that Oppo has managed to not only fit in 2 telephoto lenses, but a really massive, close to 6000 mAh battery. And so that width actually has a pretty good reason behind it, and it's gonna benefit you more than it's gonna bother you. Now, some other quick things that you might want to know. It's got a dual SIM tray. There's no microSD card slot. It's got eSIM support. There's alert slider on the side to switch sound profiles. It's got stereo speakers. It supports NFC and has a USB 3.2 port for high-speed data transfer, unlike some other phones that still give USB 2 at this price. Oh, and this is IP68 and IP69 rated for water and dust resistance. And so not only can you immerse it in water and it still works even with wet fingers, but you can also lash out boiling water jets on this. I'm not kidding. They've actually certified it for that with all kinds of tests. It's an overkill for sure, but if you want a party trick, you've got one. Okay, also it comes in 2 colors, space black and pearl white. The black one is for me. I really like that it's minimal, it's got this smooth matte texture, and the pearl white, not for me. It has more of a marble matte kind of texture, but it's partly more reflective. The display is solid, not because it's nice and large or because it's very sharp or because of that smooth 120Hz LTPO screen. In fact, it also supports HDR Dolby Vision playback on apps like Netflix. And even the outdoor visibility is top-notch, no issues using it in peak sunlight also. But it's solid because of the way the display looks. Let me explain. You see, the glass curves very slightly on all 4 sides with visually symmetrical bezels all around. And so you still experience the incredibly bezel-less viewing experience, but without the issue of, those accidental touches. And this makes a lot of difference, and you'll only realize it when you use it over a couple of days. Now this is the Find X8 Pro. The Find X8 is more of a flat display, so you could also check that out in case you're interested. But yeah, moving on to performance. See, this year we've got 2 very high performance flagship chips launched for smartphones, the Snapdragon 8 Elite and the MediaTek Dimensity 9400. This one is the first smartphone in India that has the Dimensity 9400, along with 16 gigs of LPDDR5X RAM. Honestly, it's more performance than you can ask for, especially for everyday use. It's kind of silly to even talk about how quickly the apps can launch on this or how quickly you can move between them, and yet I just talked about them. But I noticed a couple of really interesting things that impress you. So I downloaded the Antutu Benchmark 3D app. It's almost 1 GB in size, and look at the speed at which it downloaded. It's crazy. And trust me, I've downloaded the same app so many times on the same internet and I've never seen it download this fast. And that's because unlike most phones that have the dual Wi-Fi antenna system, this one actually has a triple antenna system. Even apps install super quickly, and trust me, I've installed my share of apps on the phone and this is quick. Or even if you open your gallery that's got high resolution pictures or large 4K video files, they load up instantly, they play back instantly. And that's because it's got a really fast and the latest internal storage, UFS 4.0. And this fast storage, it also helps in, loading games really quickly. And again, Dimensity 9400, it'll make sure you can play games in high graphics, high frame rates without any kind of lag whatsoever. And this phone barely got warm or had any signs of, frame drops. Consistently high frame rate, great response to touch, the graphics and the details look incredible, and thanks to stereo speakers that, by the way, also support Dolby Atmos, it's actually quite fun to game on this phone. And there's one more thing that I noticed. I was just playing around in the lobby of, Asphalt 9 game, and everything was so smooth. I mean, this UI is absolutely fluid, and trust me, I've played Asphalt a lot of times, but never this smooth. Now, there are two more areas where this kind of performance really helps out: the software and the camera. Let's talk about cameras first. But guys, before I talk about camera performance, there's one thing I want to touch upon as it's connected to performance. See, generally when you're using the camera continuously for too long, it tends to heat up, and that's quite usual. But this phone, I was using it non-stop in Bali, which was really hot and humid, but this phone did not heat up. I'm really amazed, and so would you be. Alright, cameras. Now this is where the X8 Pro really blows your socks off and where you get your money's worth. So it groups 4 50 megapixel cameras, including the dual periscope lenses. The specs are right in front of you, but let the pictures and the samples do the talking. So as you'd expect, great pictures, okay? Nice balance of colors, optimized greens, excellent dynamic range. I mean, look at the skies. They're not overly blue, they're not overly exposed, just the right blue and the gray-white clouds. It even captures the sky with an evening sun very well. Even the colors it captures, be it reds or greens, they're all close to the natural shade, though I admit that the photos are slightly on the contrasty, punchy side, but just something to keep in mind. I even took a few ultra-wide shots and they all look pretty good. And guys, feel free to download these samples from the link in the description and just evaluate these pictures, for yourself too. But this phone is not just for taking your everyday photos, it's actually the new Zoom King. So it can shoot at various zoom levels, right from ultra-wide to 1x to 2x to 3x to 6x, and they're all incredibly sharp. And here's another example. I just stood at this spot and I started zooming in and shot with different lenses, and the sharpness is just impeccable, as you can see. Despite the distance, the text is so sharply visible at 6x zoom. There's also AI telescope zoom, with which you can really go far beyond natural zoom capability, and the X8 Pro uses AI to deliver unbelievably sharp and detailed zoomed in photos. Now let's look at some human portrait shots, and I believe this is where the X8 Pro really does a great job. I mean, be it colors or skin tones or subject detection, all really well done. And these are all portraits that were shot in 3x and 6x zoom levels, and they're still so sharp. Now you can click telephoto portraits in 1x to 6x in crisp quality, and you also don't have to physically go very close to a person to take that close-up shot. Even when looking at non-human portraits, you'll see the same performance, nice punchy colors, very good separation between the subject and the background. I mean, some of these pictures look more yummy than the food was. Another great shot, the chain was also detected and kept in focus accurately, which is nice. I could click this cutie from a distance just because of the 6x telephoto portrait, which also shows that moving moments can be captured very sharply. And this was shot deep in the night, no noise, as much detail as you'd see in a daytime shot, and beautifully balanced. Speaking of low light, this phone does a pretty good job at that too. And the primary camera has an f1.6 aperture, so it can gather a lot of light and produce some really nice, noise-free low light photos. I also captured a fireworks shot using the fireworks mode on this phone, and this is just crazy. I never thought I could just point at the sky and take a casual shot and land up with pictures that look like this. Alright, selfies. So it's a 32 megapixel shooter, and I think it did a really good job. Good details on the face, nice skin tones, captured good texture on my t-shirt as well. Very good dynamic range. I mean, look at the sunset evening sky that it managed to capture behind me. And this was a very good shot because it was not as bright at that moment, but the front camera really captured it well. Also, this phone can shoot 4K Dolby Vision videos from all 5 cameras, the 4 at the back, 1 in the front, and they can all be up to 60 FPS. So here's some very random video footage I captured using the phone while just walking around, and it all looked quite nice. It's very stable. You'll see that as I walk, the footage doesn't wobble. I also tried to use different lenses while shooting to see, if there's a massive shift that I could feel while switching, and it wasn't too bad. Now this was shot at 60 FPS, and then I slowed it down to a nice, smooth, dreamy 30 FPS footage. And come on guys, it looks great. Now, low light videos is where most smartphones struggle, but this phone really did a good job. No halation around, the brightly lit areas or where the light sources were. As I walk along, no focus breathing, no pixelation, and barely any noise. And again, a dedicated fireworks mode was used to capture real fireworks, and I couldn't believe just how good the footage was overall. Alright, so guys, this is a video sample shot using the front-facing camera. Now, it can shoot in 4K resolution at up to 60 FPS, okay? And I'm climbing stairs right now, so whatever stability you see is what you see. And I'm not using any third-party audio interface. It's whatever is getting recorded into the mic, it's straight. So yeah, let me know how it sounds. It's pretty sunny actually, so let me know what you think about how my face looks. But yeah, that's the quality. But the only odd thing is that you cannot shoot portrait videos in 4K resolution. You can tap here to start shooting portrait videos, but it will only do so in 1080p resolution and not 4K. Oh, and yes, the quick button, it pretty much works like, the button. But essentially, double tap opens the camera super quick and you can snap pictures with it. You can zoom in and out by just sliding on it, and that's what it does. Now, you can't customize it for, anything else. You cannot zoom in and out while you're in portrait mode, and you cannot use it to change your camera modes. At least not yet. A quick FYI, the camera app also comes with a lot of filters and effects baked in, and some of these filters are really nice. They give your photo an, artistic touch. Even while taking portraits, you get these effects like misty, glowing, and dreamy, if you're into that kind of thing. And if you want to unlock the full potential, you've got to go into master mode that will let you shoot raw 50 megapixel pictures across all 4 lenses. Of course, the file sizes are going to be larger, but that's going to let you edit more aggressively and get the results you want. But again, guys, feel free to download all these photos and video samples from the link in the description and check it out for yourself. Evaluate the quality, the performance of the camera, all for yourself. Now, before I talk about the battery, I want to talk about the software on it. So look, it's got ColorOS and it's always been feature rich, it still is, but this time it feels ultra smooth. The X8 Pro has ColorOS 15, it's based on Android 15, which is great to see right out of the box. But this time, ColorOS 15 is seriously smooth. They've used their in-house graphic rendering system, which has significantly improved the animations and it's made things super fluid. It's also got some useful AI features like, remove reflections from photos, and it does a pretty good job at that. Then there's AI Eraser to remove people or objects from photos in case you didn't want them to be in there in the first place. There's also an option to unblur photos that are blurred, and similarly Image Clarity Enhancer in case you want to upscale and add more details to a picture that didn't already have it. There's also this toolbar on the side called Sidebar that gives you access to your favorite apps and shortcuts, but also gives you options like AI Speak and AI Summary that can narrate or summarize an entire page in points that's easy to understand. Now, it is a bit disappointing to see some of the pre-installed apps like FinShell Play, Fitbit, Myntra, and Hot Apps, but you can just as easily uninstall them as well. I mean, all I can say is it's really good this time. Now guys, I want to talk about battery and charging, and there's a huge upgrade in the battery capacity. So this year it's 5910 mAh. That's a big jump. So this time Oppo has used silicon carbon batteries. They're basically denser, they pack more capacity in the same space. Essentially what it means is that it's going to last you easy full day, and in some cases you actually may be able to carry forward the battery to the next day, and that I think is great for a flagship phone. It charges at 80 watt power, which I think is really good, but more interestingly, it can charge wirelessly at 50 watt using an AIRVOOC charger, which I think is super cool. I mean, if it's charging 50 watt wirelessly, I'm happy. I mean, I really don't even care about an 80 watt wired charging then. So, how much for all this? Let's see. You get the phone, the charger, the case, the screen protector, all for 99,999. So for about 1 lakh, is it worth it? Well, firstly, this pricing is for 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of internal storage. That makes a difference because any other flagship with 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage is going to be pricier. It's going to cost you a lot more. And they're probably not going to even come with that good a camera system. And apart from being the most versatile camera system that you can buy under a lakh, it stacks the latest 2024 performance, even the 2025 performance that only 2 or 3 phones have at this point in time. And also, if you think about it, all the flagships that are yet to launch with the new chips like the Snapdragon 8 Elite or the MediaTek Dimensity 9400, they're also going to be more expensive than what they were when they launched last year. So in short, yes, it's really looking more worthy than some other flagship phones that are out there at this point in time. And that's it, guys, about the Oppo Find X8 Pro. If you guys still have any questions, thoughts, let me know in the comment section and let's have a chat there. And if you guys did enjoy watching the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification icon and mark all. Really helps the channel grow. I'll see you guys in the next one.